In the previous episode, we discussed how the local monks presented numerous ancient scriptures and records, including accounts of Jesus' personal deeds, to the Soviet explorer. After the Soviet explorer returned to the Soviet Union, he wrote a book about the deeds of Jesus in India based on the information he saw. This book was later translated into different languages, including English. A British person who read the book went to India and Tibet to find information. At that time, India was still under British colonial rule and had not yet gained independence. There were many British people there. One day, this British person was in a bar that specifically catered to British people, where they were drinking alcohol. There was an Indian bartender. During their conversation, the British person noticed that there were many beer bottles displayed on the wall, and one of the bottles had the word, Mari, written on it. He made a joke and asked the bartender if it was the name of his landlady, Mari. The bartender replied, "No, Mari is the name of Jesus' mother." The British person expressed surprise, and the bartender explained, "This beer is produced in a town called Mari. The name of the town comes from Mary, the mother of Jesus, who was buried there after her passing." So, after hearing that the town was named Mari and the beer was produced there, the British person became excited. They went there, took photos, and gathered the information they needed. They were preparing to write a book based on their findings. Later on, they continued their quest for information. The newspaper had a chief editor who was also interested in these subjects. The British person was thrilled and made arrangements to meet the chief editor at their office, which required a long train journey. It may have felt like a close distance in the story but was actually quite far. When they arrived at the office of the chief editor, it was described as a large office with a beautiful view of the snow-capped mountains in the northeast of India. The editor stood up to welcome them, and they had a conversation. The editor provided them with a lot of information. Towards the end of their discussion, the British person asked the editor why he was so interested in this matter. The editor looked at the snow-capped mountains for a while, remained silent, then turned his head down and softly said, "I have my reasons. Later on, I suddenly realized what the reason could be. The editor was a descendant of Jesus. This Indian person was one of the descendants of Jesus, which explained their deep interest in the subject. Is it logically plausible? I have been trying hard to find that specific information, but I couldn't locate it. Despite having gone through many sources, including online archives where I used to find such information, I can't find it now. It's quite unfortunate. If anyone happens to come across any relevant information, please let me know. I would appreciate it if you could share it with me because I would like to preserve it." In theory, it should be relatively straightforward to find information about the editor if you are able to locate them. Of course, this event happened several decades ago when India was still under colonial rule. However, it should still be traceable since it falls within the realm of modern history. It shouldn't be too distant in the past to find information about it. Even if the mentioned editor has passed away, it's possible that their descendants may have information that can be traced. So, if you manage to find them, you might indeed discover a descendant of Jesus. Oh, there's another interesting anecdote about Billy. When he was young, in his 20s, there was another group of extraterrestrials that were not from the Pleiades star cluster. These extraterrestrials came from a different universe called the Doll universe. Their technological advancements surpassed even those of the Pleiadians. Among this group was a female extraterrestrial named Asket. She accompanied Billy and another person on a journey through time and space. They traveled back to the time of Jesus and had a direct conversation with him. This event is also mentioned in Billy's records. Billy himself went to Jerusalem 2,000 years ago, along with Asket, the female extraterrestrial. They covered their bodies with robes to conceal their identities, so no one recognized them except Jesus. As soon as Jesus saw them, he said, "I already knew you would come." They had a conversation with him, but the specifics of their discussion are not mentioned here. If there is an opportunity in the future, I can share more about it. Undoubtedly, if we consider the descriptions in the Bible as we know it, Talmud Jmmanuel presents a highly disruptive perspective. I would encourage all audiences to seek information and see if it is available and verifiable in the present time. Let's approach it as a discussion rather than a matter of right or wrong, and be open to different viewpoints. When you are willing to explore, you will discover many possibilities and different perspectives. One possibility, for example, is that the teachings of Jesus closely resemble those of Buddhism. Even if we set aside Billy's version, there have been suggestions in the public domain that Jesus' teachings align with Zen or similar philosophies. If you read the Gospel of John alongside the previous 3 Gospels, you will find differences, and Jesus' teachings in John are more akin to Zen. If you are genuinely interested, you can also look into the Talmud Jmmanuel, which provides further clarity. It offers a clearer understanding because many things in the Bible have been edited and altered. There is inconsistency between different parts. However, when you read the Talmud Jmmanuel, it provides a clearer and more explicit explanation. Several websites have documented these prophecies. As for Billy Meyer, he clearly states that prophecies are not set in stone because every individual has free will and the ability to change the future. If we awaken and become aware, we have the capacity to alter the future. However, if we remain unconscious and continue on our current path, all these major catastrophes will undoubtedly occur. By being unconscious, I mean completely oblivious to the need for controlling our viewpoints and not making changes based on the outcomes. This irresponsibility is a significant problem. If you understand the existence of different viewpoints, it becomes easier to take responsibility. You can choose to embrace that responsibility. However, if you are unaware of the existence of different viewpoints, you cannot make that choice. In the book, Talmud Jmmanuel, the core message is that we, as individuals, are responsible for our actions because everything stems from our own choices. There are things we should do and things we should not do. The book provides a clear and detailed explanation. To delve into the specifics, it's best to read the book yourself. In summary, we need to take responsibility for everything we do. Furthermore, the concept of reincarnation is also explained clearly. In other words, it suggests that each individual must continually go through the cycle of birth and rebirth to learn lessons. We must learn, or else we will forever remain trapped in this cycle. Thank you for watching all 5 episodes of Talmud Jmmanuel. See you next time.